doesn't have any purport, we will recite the 11th verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtike. This chapter is titled Sudama Visits Lord Krishna. This is a very sweet and famous pastime of how Krishna reciprocated with the love of Sudama. This chapter and the next chapter has details of that. Verse 10 is Tamupaihi Mahabhagan Sadunam Cha Parayanam Dashyati Dravinam Bhuri Sidate Te Kutumbanye. O fortunate one, please approach him, the real shelter of all saints. He will certainly give abundant wealth to such a suffering householder as you. So this is Sudama's wife trying to convince Sudama to go to Dwarka. So this is his wife speaking. And now we will recite the 11th verse. Aste dhuna dravatyam Bhoja Vrishni Andhakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam Api Yachati Kim Vartha Kaman Bhajato Natya Bhishtan Jagadguru Aste Dhuna Ravapam Bhoja Vrishni Andhakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam Api Yachati Kim Nartha Kaman Bhojato Nata Bhishtan Jagadguru Aste Dhuna Drararavtyam Bhoja Vrishni Andhakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam Api Yachati Kim Nvartha Kaman Bhajato Nata Bhishtan Jagadguru. Aste Dhuna Draravatyam Bhoja Vrishni Andhakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam Api Yachati Kim Varta Kama Bhajato Nata Bhishtan Jagadguru. Aste Dhuna Draravatyam Bhoja Vrishni Andhakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam Api Yachati Kim Varta Kaman Bhajato Nata Bhishtan Jagadguru. Naste Dhuna Draravatyam Bhoja Vrishni Andhakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam Api Yachati Kim Nvarta Kaman Bhajato Natyabhishtan Jagat Guru. Mataji's. Aste Dunadraravatyam Bhoja Vrishni Andakeshwara Smarata Pada Kamalam Atmanam api yachati Kim Varta Kaman Bhajato Nastya Bistan Jagat Guru. Atmanam api yachati Kim Nvarta Kaman Bhajato Natyabhishtan Jagat Guru. Word for word meaning. Aste is present. Adhuna, now. Dwaravatyam, at Dwarka. Bhoja Vrishni Andhaka, of the Bhojas, Vrishnis and Andhakas. Ishwara, the Lord. Smarata, to one who remembers. Pada Kamalam, his lotus feet. Atmanam, himself. Api, even. Yachati, he gives. Kim nu, what then to speak of? Artha, economic success. Kaman, and sense gratification. Bhajata, to one who worships him. Na, not. Ati, very much. Abhishtan, desirable. Jagat, of the whole universe. Guru, the spiritual master. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Translation. Lord Krishna is now the ruler of the Bhojas, Vrishnis and Andhakas and is staying at Dwarka. Since he gives even his own self to anyone who simply remembers his lotus feet, what doubt is there that he, the spiritual master of the universe, will bestow upon his sincere worshipper prosperity and material enjoyment, which are not even very desirable. Purport. The Brahmana's wife here implies that since Lord Krishna is the ruler of the Bhojas, Vrishnis and Andhakas, if these opulent rulers merely acknowledge Sudama as a personal friend of Krishna's, they could give him everything he required. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that since Lord Krishna had at this point put aside his weapons, he no longer travelled outside his own capital of Dwarka. Thus, Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Brahmana's wife said, I have heard that he never leaves his capital city Dwarka. He is living there without outside engagements. As mentioned here, material wealth and sense gratification are not very desirable. The reason for this is that in the long run, they give no real satisfaction. Still, Sudama's wife thought, even if Sudama went to Dwarka and simply remained silent before the Lord, he would certainly give him abundant wealth, as well as shelter at his lotus feet, which was Sudama's real objective. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahityam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Ti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Nama Madhuryojvala Premadhyay Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namastute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virud Apa Siddhanta Dvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambode Padambhujayate Nama Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gauravir Bhava Bhumestvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhauma Shri Jagannathayate Nama Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishi Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavatar Bhaktakhyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Jayatam Surato Pangor Mama Manda Matergati Matsarvasya Padam Bhojau Radha Madana Mohanau Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadaha Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanastau Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalibi Sevyamanav Smarami Shriman Rasarasarambhi Shivata Tatastitau Karshan Venu Swaner Gopi Gopinatha Shriyestuna Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here we have this very nice chapter which describes the loving relation between Krishna and his very dear friend, devotee, Sudama. Before that pastime starts, it is Sudama's wife who is doing a very good job preaching to Sudama with the philosophy. Sometimes we also use the philosophy to get something done. But here she is she's wonderfully preaching to Sudama using various aspects of Krishna's nature and trying to convince Sudama that you just go there. You don't have to do anything else. Just go there, and because Krishna is who he is and because he loves his devotees so much, everything will be taken care of. Just go. So in the 10th verse, she says, Sadhunam cha parayanam. Sadhunam cha parayanam. That Krishna is the ultimate shelter of his devotees. The devotees are sheltered. Therefore, just take advantage of this. She's telling him. Just take advantage of the fact that Krishna gives shelter to his devotees. In the 9th canto, the pastime of Ambrish Maharaj, when Durvasa Muni finally realized what a big mistake he made, and he went and he fell at the feet of the Lord. The Lord says this shloka, Sadhunam Sadhavo Hridayam Mayam Sadhunam Hridaya Tvaham Madante na jananti naham tebhyo managapi. That I am in the heart of the devotees and the devotees are in my heart. Sadhavo Hridaya Mayam. I am in the heart of the devotee. Sadhunam hridaya chaham. And they are in my heart. They don't know anyone but me, and I therefore also don't know anyone but them. So in this purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Krishna's heart for the devotees is just like a parent's heart for a crying child. When a child cries, the parents feel the pain of the child, even though nothing has happened to them. And similarly, when the child is very happy or joyous, the parents automatically feel satisfied. They feel happy that the child is happy. So Prabhupada writes that similarly, when the devotee is in distress, Krishna takes personal attention. And Krishna is not very happy. And more so, he is not very happy with the person giving the distress to the devotee. Therefore, we know one of the offenses to the holy name is also to blaspheme the devotees. Mahaprabhu called it the mad elephant offense. And vice versa. If we can, by our actions and behavior, please a devotee, by our service please a devotee, Krishna gets pleased. So, the Lord is telling this to Durvasa Muni, that you've made a huge mistake by doing this. And here, Sudama's wife is telling him that this is who your friend is. He's the shelter of the devotees. In the Gita we know the reasons why Krishna comes, and the Acharyas tell us that Vinashaya cha dushkritam can be done by anybody. Actually Krishna comes paritranaya sadhunam, to protect the devotees, and more so to perform pastimes that can attract us. So this is the real purpose for the Lord to come, and Sudama's wife is reminding him. And through him and through this dialogue, we are being reminded that what is the nature of our worshipable Lord? That he is the giver of shelter to the devotees. In this 10th verse, his wife also says one more thing. She says, Sidate te kutumbane. That the suffering householders. Now I, being a householder, can speak on householders. Sometimes when brahmacharis speak too much about householders, it's not taken properly by the householders, but I have personal experience. In the Bhagavatam it is mentioned that in Kali Yuga, if a householder can just maintain his household, just it doesn't break up, bas rahe ek saath, he is considered a great person. Just simply maintain. And Prabhupada writes that animals are maintaining their families, the birds are maintaining their families, the dogs are maintaining their families, and it's going on. But in Kali Yuga, because our wants have become endless, and because of quarrel and because of all these things, our sense of patience is just not there, that even if 4 people can live together, the head of the family is considered a very great person. So here she's saying, we suffering householders, what hope is there for us apart from the Lord? If you remember in Leelamrit, when Prabhupada is remembering his childhood, he says that although my father was not a very rich man, but he was expert at maintaining the household, and therefore we never had any shortage of anything. Although he had very little things, but it was sufficient for all of us. So a householder, just to keep things together, forget anything else, just अभी तक आपका divorce नहीं हुआ, अभी तक बच्चे एक साथ हैं, just this much, oh, great people. So Sidante te kutumbane. Otherwise it is so difficult in the material world to maintain a family, what to speak of to get them to Krishna consciousness. So the only hope are the devotees and the Lord. So his wife tells him that just go there. In the next verse, the verse that we recited, again, she starts by telling him in the purport we read that, if there's any doubt that Krishna may or may not reciprocate, do you know who are the people around him? The Vrishnis, the Bhojas, the Andhakas. Just looking at you, in the purport is written, just looking at you, they will take pity. And because Krishna will at least recognize you, they will understand that you're Krishna's friend. And therefore, तुमको कुछ तो दे देंगे. They'll give you something. You know, this torn rags and no milk at home, at least this much our problem will be solved. So even if Krishna doesn't act, the people surrounding Krishna, they are also so great that when they come to know that you have a relationship with Krishna, they will help you out. They will help you out. They will give their mercy to you. So again, the main point being Sudama's relationship with Krishna. When as a devotee we can develop that relationship with Guru and that relationship with the Lord, then automatic mercy from everyone else also comes. The acharyas, the demigods, the devotees, automatically that mercy comes. Oh, this person is a devotee. So she's telling him, just place yourself in front of Krishna and all problems will be solved. Just go there. And then she is, as I said, she's doing a wonderful job at preaching. So she's preempting that Sudama may say, यहाँ से मैं द्वारका तक जाऊँगा, I'll go there, it is such a long walk, not even a drive, not even a train ride, such a long walk. What if Krishna is not there? Krishna is such a busy person. He's not some, just random person. He's the Supreme Lord and he's the King of Dwarka. He's a very, very busy person. He could have gone to some county, he could have gone to some, place in his kingdom, or he may have gone somewhere else. क्या फ़ायदा मैं उतना चल के जाऊँगा, मिलेंगे भी नहीं. So she's telling him, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes here that I have heard that now Krishna has retired from the duties of the kingdom. He's given up his weapons and he's stationed in Dwarka. So don't worry, when you go, you will meet Krishna. So because Sudama didn't want to go to ask these things. He didn't want to go to ask anything material. So she is just like a good preacher. When you know the opposite person and you know what arguments they may give to not to take up Krishna consciousness, you will preempt that. And you will yourself say, yeah, this, and these are the answers. So here his wife is saying, don't worry, he's in Dwarka only. And you just have to go there and stand. Then she says, Smarata Pada Kamalam. That when you go there, you don't even have to open your mouth. You don't have to open your mouth. You just think of Krishna's lotus feet. And that is enough for Krishna. Someone who's just thinking of his lotus feet. Next line. Atmanam api yachati. Krishna gives himself to that person. Because again, she is maybe preempting that Sudama would be thinking, Jai Shri Shri Gaur Nitai ki, SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple ji ki, Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ji ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. She is thinking that Sudama may say that I met Krishna such long ago, so many years back when we were in Gurukul. After that I have not even stayed in touch with him. I have not stayed in touch with him, I have not met him. Suddenly I go in front of him and say, Dear Krishna, my wife wants some donation. How will he react? It's like those who do fundraising, or even if you do preaching, you stay in touch with those people. And especially you make it a point, couple of months before Janmashtami, you stay in touch with them. You go and give them some prasad. Because you don't just want to go 1 week before Janmashtami with the donation brochure. आप किधर थे? 1 साल बाद आए अभी. बीच में मैं इतना फॉलो अप कर रहा रिसीट के लिए, कोई कुछ बोल नहीं रहा था, अभी आप आ गए. So Sudama may be thinking like that. So she's saying, you don't even have to go and ask anything. Just go there and think of the lotus feet of Krishna. And Krishna, knowing who he is, Krishna knows that, okay, I have not met, Sudama has not come to meet me in all these years, but Sudama was always thinking of me. There was never a time where Sudama did not think of Krishna. And she is implying that Krishna knows that. Smarata pada kamalam atmanam api yachati. Krishna knows that you have always been thinking of him and that you have always had these devotional feelings towards Krishna, even though you have not met for a very long time. And the meeting is not so important. It is the feelings that you have carried all these years. That is what, on the basis of that, Krishna will definitely give himself to you. thinking of the lotus feet. And by thinking of the lotus feet, it is implied you are thinking of the person. So just like there's this pastime of Vrindavan. We just came back from Vrindavan hearing so many pastimes from Deenbandhu Prabhu. So once the gopis were following behind the footprints, the lotus footprints of Radharani and Krishna. And they were, the soft sands of Vrindavan, they were seeing the footprints are there. There are 2 sets of footprints going here, going there. They were following them. And after a while, it became only 1 set of footprints. And so the gopis understood Srimati Radharani would have become tired and therefore Krishna would have lifted her up and then gone. So at that time, the gopis started thinking about Radharani and Krishna, and they started glorifying the topmost position of Srimati Radharani and Krishna's reciprocation towards her. So when it is said here, Smarata Pada Kamalam, that think of the lotus feet of the Lord, it is implied when you think of the lotus feet of the Lord, you are thinking of the Lord. And when you're thinking of the Lord, you're thinking of His qualities, you're thinking of His pastimes, you're thinking of His devotees. And this, Prabhupada says, is Krishna consciousness. Just to be conscious that Krishna exists and my relationship with Him is that of a servant, this is Krishna consciousness. So, there's this funny pastime of Srila Prabhupada regarding this point of when you think of the lotus feet, you're thinking of the person. Once, this is written in Shrutakirti Prabhu's book. So once Shrutakirti Prabhu was massaging Prabhupada, and Prabhupada had given license to the devotees massaging him, that don't worry about offense of touching my body or anything. You do your seva. Right now your seva is to wrestle with me. Shrutakirti Prabhu says, Prabhupada didn't want a light massage. He wanted, me to pound on him. And so Shrutakirti Prabhu says, when Prabhupada would want me to massage his feet, he would want me to turn around. So he said, initially I felt very uncomfortable because Prabhupada was looking at my feet. But Prabhupada told me to do it, so I was doing it. So he said once, when I was massaging Prabhupada's feet like that, Prabhupada suddenly said, Shrutakirti, your mother must be very beautiful. And I was thinking, ye kahan se aa gaya? But I said, yes, Srila Prabhupada, although she is in her 50s, she is very beautiful. But Srila Prabhupada, how did you know that? You have never met my mother. And Prabhupada said, I am seeing your feet. And it is said that when a son's feet are beautiful, it means the mother is very beautiful. So I come to know your mother is very beautiful. So point being, lotus feet implies the person. So here Krishna's lotus feet implies the Supreme Lord, thinking of Him. And the next line is Atmanam api yachati. That when a devotee is thinking of Krishna, he is constantly remembering Krishna, Krishna is sold out to that person. We know in the Ramayana, there is this pastime of Kevat. So in his previous life, he was a turtle. And that as a turtle, he got very attracted to the lotus feet of Vishnu. So he made his way towards the abode of Lord Vishnu. Over there, Lakshmi ji was massaging Lord Vishnu and lying down on Anantasesh. And this turtle goes there to get close to the lotus feet. And Lakshmi ji looks and sees, oh, turtle, bhagao. And she signals to Anantasesh. And Anantasesh, with his hoods, does something, the turtle goes away. But now the turtle has got, param drishtva nivartate. She's got this higher taste. So he tries to come back again. And again Lakshmi ji shoos him away. Third time he comes, fourth time. Finally Anantasesh shoos him away, far away. Now in that next life, this turtle became Kevat. And then we know when Lord Ram wanted to cross the Ganga, the Lord from whose lotus feet Mother Ganga washes and goes, he is unable to cross and requires a boat. And then, lo and behold, Kevat is there. Whenever a devotee has a desire, a genuine desire to serve the Lord arranges that. So now in that life, that was not possible. But in this life, Kevat is there. And Lord Ram, Lakshman and Mother Sita, Lord Ram asks him, my dear boatman, please take us to that side of the Ganga. And we know Kevat says, no, I cannot take that risk. What is the risk in that? No, I have heard that once you touched a stone, and that stone became a woman, Ahilya. I already have a wife. I have many household responsibilities, and this boat is my only means of income. तो अगर आपने उसको टच कर लिया और ये boat becomes some woman or whatever, some human, then what will I do? I will have one more person to maintain and no means of livelihood. So I cannot take that risk. Lord Ram knows the heart of his devotees. He was smiling. So what do you want to do? I know more than your lotus feet, it's the dust of your lotus feet. So let me please wash your dust of your lotus feet. Lakshman is looking. Kaun hai ye? Lakshman in his mood. Who is talking, arguing, being smart with the Lord? But he's seeing Lord Ram is smiling. He's enjoying this reciprocation with his devotee. So he backs off. And then Kevat makes Lord Ram sit and he starts washing. So while he's pouring this water and about to touch the Lord's lotus feet, he looks up at Mother Sita. He looks up at Lakshman and he gives this, smirk, the smile. Last time you all didn't allow, no? See now, this time ho gaya. Last time you all only, no? Lakshmi ji and Ananta Sesh, you all stopped me from getting close to the Lord's lotus feet. This time you couldn't do anything. Lord reciprocated with him. So, the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord gives himself. In this very pastime, further we will read, and especially in the next chapter we will read, that when Sudama wanted to go there, actually the next verse only mentions this. He tells his wife, okay fine, I'm not going to ask anything. You have made it clear, just show up there and just think of the Lord's lotus feet and everything will be taken care of. मैं उतना ही करने वाला हूँ. But even for that, I don't want to go empty-handed. So give me something. Now there's nothing. The problem is that only there's nothing. Like we say, no? Many times we ask a question, mind is so restless while chanting, what to do? And the most likely answer that comes is, keep chanting. But that is the problem. Mind is restless in chanting, what to do? Keep chanting. Keep chanting. That is the ultimate answer. So he's telling his wife, kuch leke jana chahiye. She said, kuch hai hi nahi. Okay, then she went, she begged at 4-5 places, some chipped rice we know, tied it, took it. When Krishna came to know that actually what he's brought for me is something that he doesn't even own. What he's brought for me, he's begged and brought for me. It's not even his. He's taken the position of a beggar and begged alms and he's giving me that. And in the Bhagavad-gita, Krishna says, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tatheva bhajamyaham. As you surrender to me, I will reciprocate with you. Now Krishna is thinking, I have to reciprocate with him. But what can I beg? Everything is mine. Bhoktaram, Yagyatapasam, Sarvaloka, Maheshwaram, everything belongs to me. But this fellow has given me something that he doesn't belong to him. So how do I reciprocate? Therefore, let me just give myself to him. I cannot reciprocate in any other way. The only thing I can give is myself. And that's how this pastime goes ahead. We also read in the Mahabharata, when Krishna heard that Bhishma Dev has taken this vow, these 5 arrows, not a vow actually, he gave Duryodhan these 5 arrows. And he said, you use these 5 arrows and the 5 Pandavas will be defeated. Now Krishna is thinking, my dear devotees, the Pandavas, I have to protect them. The Lord is in the heart. He told Arjuna, jao udhar, Duryodhan se kuch mang ke aao. Now the tradition was that although Duryodhan hated the Pandavas, but that much culture was there, that if someone younger than me comes and asks me something, I will give him. We also know that as soon as the war would end, they would be having cordial relations. So in the evening when Arjuna went, Duryodhan said, yes, my dear Anuj, please come. What do you want? I want those 5 arrows. Duryodhana is thinking, how does he know about it? But anyway, he's asked me for something, I have to give him. De diya. Now when Bhishma came to know, Bhishma he's externally showing, Bhishma is one of the 12 Mahajans. He's a pure devotee of the Lord. Externally he's showing rage. Because he was in Virya Ras, in the mood of chivalry with the Lord. So he took a vow that tomorrow I will make Krishna break his promise. I will make him fight. Now Krishna had taken a vow that I will not fight. You either take my army or you take me without fighting. I am not going to fight. And next day Bhishma was fighting as if, nobody had seen such a war before. On that day, how Bhishma Dev was fighting. And Krishna soon came to know that ऐसा चलता रहा तो ये लोग तो हो जाएंगे गांडीव and all एक side पे. Ultimately it's Bhishma, the father of the father of the father of these guys. So we know what Krishna did. He got down, took the wheel of the chariot and charged towards Bhishma. And Arjuna is petrified. No, don't do that. Aapka vow. Your vow. And that time when Bhishma saw Krishna, it's described in the 8th chapter of the 1st canto. Krishna is charging towards him with a wheel in hand, with anger, with perspiration coming down his cheeks, with dust and perspiration together, and that sight of a person who's laboring very hard. And in that very animated way, Krishna with his wheel is charging towards Bhishma. At that time, Bhishma gave up his bow and arrow, just looked at Krishna with a big smile on his face, and he thought, my life is now successful because the Lord has reciprocated with my desire. Because Bhishma was in Virya Ras, he wanted to have this kind of a reciprocation, this kind of a relationship with Krishna. And Krishna thought, my promise, the promise of Bhishma. My promise, the mood of Bhishma. To hell with my promise. And for the rest of creation, let me be known as someone who's unreliable. Let me be known as someone whose promise cannot be trusted. But let Bhishma be known as such a great devotee for whom the Lord himself broke his promise. Later on, when Yudhishthir Maharaj, after the war, was confused, was upset about what happened, he went to Krishna. And Krishna told him, I am sorry, I cannot help you, you go to Bhishma. Before the war, the same thing happened with Arjuna, and Krishna spoke Bhagavad-gita. He could have spoken the Bhagavad-gita again, and Yudhishthir Maharaj would have been pacified. But no, I want to glorify my devotee Bhishma. When a devotee gives himself to Krishna, Krishna makes sure that he reciprocates with that devotee. We are all at a sadhaka stage, therefore we may not feel that reciprocation right now, but if we are really introspective, so much reciprocation the Lord has already done with us. That's the fact that we are still there. We are still going on. We are looking forward to progressing, doing more service, reading Shastra. This is the Lord's reciprocation. So the Lord is reciprocating like that with his devotees. And Sudama's wife is reminding him all these things. You just go there. Krishna is Atmanam api yachati. He gives himself to the devotees. Bhishma's example, Arjuna's example, this own pastime later on, that example. In fact, this is why it is so easy to perform bhakti yoga as compared to any other forms of self-realization. Because here we are accepting the personal form of the Lord. The personal form of the Lord with his lotus feet and his lotus eyes and his lotus face and his lotus smile and his flute. And there are so many beautiful things to think of and therefore remember Krishna. So many wonderful pastimes. The Mayavadis cannot think of all these things because for them, the Lord is formless and they are also the Lord. The Bhagavatam, that verse is there. Yene ravindaksha vimuktamanina stvayasta bhavada vibuddha shuddhaya aruya krichena param padam tata patantyadonandrida yushmadangraya. They're praying that, my dear Lord, Yene aravindaksha vimuktamanina, my dear lotus-eyed Lord, you know, all these people who are doing lot of penance, who are doing lot of austerity and trying to get self-realized, they are doomed and they will fall down. Why? Patantya donada yushmad angraya, because they have not accepted the shelter of your lotus feet. And because they have not accepted the shelter of your lotus feet, they are denying your existence. All their penance, all their austerity, it is just a waste of time. So Mayavadis are just busy, aham brahmasmi, aham brahmasmi. Whereas here you have the Supreme Lord who's showing with his pastimes that if we just take shelter of him, we just remember him, then he's ready to give himself. There's no other extraneous endeavor required. Sudama's wife goes on. In the last line she says, Natya Bhishtan, which means that these other benefits that may come when you approach Krishna are actually not very desirable by you. What did she want? She wanted that this is your friend and we are in a very poverty-stricken situation. You know, we are hardly able to make ends meet. So at least something will come. But she's even telling him that, I know that is not very desirable for you. You don't want that. You don't care for all that. In the Bhagavad-gita, the Lord says, Yehi samsparshaja bhoga dukkha yoyana evate adi antavanta kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Because sense gratification has adi antavanta. It has a beginning and it has an end. And everything which has an end will have that bitter feeling. It's gone. Every relationship which has an end hurts when it's over. Any facility, any position, when it ends, for someone who's not very devotionally inclined, it hurts. So she's telling him all these things, other things, they are not very desirable to you. But, the last word, Jagat Guru. But, Krishna is not just the maintainer of the Yadavas, he's not just the maintainer of the Vrishnis, he's not just the maintainer of the Bhojas, he's the maintainer of every living entity. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam gyatva mam shantim richati. So he is the maintainer of every living entity. So you don't worry. Even though you don't desire these things, because you have such a wonderful mood of loving reciprocation, loving devotion with Krishna, Krishna will satisfy those also. Although you are not desiring them. Although they are not very desirable, but he is Jagat Guru. He is the maintainer. We know that pastime of Sridhar Swami. When he wanted, somehow his marriage was arranged. But then he soon realized that this is not for me. And he approached his wife. Now if someone tries to do that, it'll be a disaster for him. But he approached his wife. His wife also said, yes, I completely agree with your decision. I have one request. You give me one child. After you give me a child, then you go, you take sannyas. No problem. I will have some engagement. I need some engagement. I cannot take sannyas. You give me one child. He said, okay, fair enough. Now, as the ways of the Lord are so unpredictable, it's like, the Lord is the biggest sarcastic person. We may make some plan, and a plan purely for our spiritual life, with no other material desire. And we would think, Lord, just if this happens, then I'm very nicely situated in my service. And Krishna may do just the opposite. He may give us a setback in our health. He may give us a setback in some relationship. He may give us some setback with some skill or talent that we may have to be able to serve him. And then Krishna is waiting to see, now what will you do? You still have that mood? So while delivering the child, Sridhar Swami's wife passed away. Now he's thinking that my situation before seemed better. At least there was someone to take care of things. Now she's gone and I have a child, what to do? And with the child in his hand, he was just looking up. And he saw a lizard giving birth. And so he's looking, the lizard gave birth, baby lizard has come. Baby lizard ka koi naam hota? Baby lizard. Just like you have a dog and a puppy, or baby lizard is... And within a few seconds, the baby lizard opened its mouth, that tongue came out, caught a mosquito, took it inside and swallowed. And he's looking, and he's thinking, yeah, this entity has just appeared, few seconds back. How did he come to know that this is my food and this is the way to do it? That means the Lord within the heart is maintaining. One of the 6 symptoms of surrender is Goptritve Varanam Tatha. Rakshishya iti Vishwaso, having firm faith that Krishna will protect. Goptritve Varanam Tatha, having firm faith that Krishna will provide, he will maintain. So then he thought, if this is true for the lizard, it has to be true for every entity, including a human being. He took that baby, just born, put the baby into a nice basket, kept the basket outside the home and walked off, took sannyas. And just some time later, one couple who was waiting, pleading, praying to the Lord for a child, not able to have, saw that baby, picked it up, raised and maintained the baby. So, Jagat Guru, Krishna is the maintainer of every living entity. And therefore, Sudama's wife is reminding him through all these wonderful things. Sadhunam cha parayanam. Krishna is the shelter of the sadhus. Smarata pada kamalam. Just remember his lotus feet. Atmanam api yachati. Krishna will give himself to you. Nati abhishtan. I know other things are not very desirable to you, but Jagat Guru, Krishna is the maintainer. He will take care. So in this way, she is appealing in a very wonderful way to Sudama to say that Krishna remembers the devotional service or the devotional mood. Even if there was no opportunity to perform any service because you were far away from him, he understands your sentiments and he will definitely reciprocate. Similarly, we sing every day Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam, the lotus feet of the spiritual master, the Guru. There is this wonderful pastime Bhurijan Prabhu says that in his book, he writes that once Bhurijan Prabhu, Banu Maharaj and Prabhupada were going on a bullet train in Japan. Maybe aane wala idhar bhi. Bullet train. So in the bullet train, the way it works is initially it goes at a decent speed and after some time there is this announcement which comes. Then now everyone has to seat and fasten your seat belt because now we are going to go into super speed and nobody can get up at that time. So before that time came, the devotees always wanted to make Prabhupada most comfortable and for that they were willing to take all discomfort. So then Banu Maharaj got up, he was not Maharaj then. And Bhurijan Prabhu told Prabhupada, you're sitting on this seat, please rest your lotus feet on this other seat. So you sit comfortably, we will stand. When the announcement came that now everyone has to take their seats. So Bhurijan Prabhu said, I was feeling awkward, how to tell Prabhupada now aap pair niche rakho, apne hi seat pe baitho. He said, but still I thought how best to say and I folded my hands and told Srila Prabhupada, could you please put your lotus feet down there so that Bhanu can sit because the announcement has been made. And Prabhupada smiled and said, yes, I will keep my lotus feet down so that my lotus-like devotee can have a seat. One more, Tamal Krishna Maharaj remembers. He had a hernia problem here only in Juhu. And the doctors recommended surgery. So he was taken, I think, to Jaslok hospital for surgery. And then the doctors told him, okay, we are giving you anesthesia. Now you count till 10 and आपको नींद आ जाएगा, हम perform कर लेंगे surgery. He said, I counted till 3. I was remembering Radha Rasbihari and then I became unconscious. And in my unconscious state, in my dream, I saw Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all the predecessor acharyas. And they were asking Prabhupada, so what is your report? What is your report? And Prabhupada was telling them, actually there's no hope in Kali Yuga. All this austerity, all this penance, all this shastra and all, it's not working. But I see one thing that's working. These devotees are very attached to me. And they are serving my lotus feet. And because of this, they are progressing. Because they are serving my lotus feet, they are progressing. All in a dream. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj's surgery is over. He comes out of consciousness. You can find this in that Memories book, Siddhanta Prabhu. Also that recording is there. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when he opened his eyes, Srila Prabhupada was there. And Prabhupada said, when I came to know that you are getting operated, I came running because I wanted to tell you, don't get operated here. You go back to America and get the operation. But it was too late. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, I told Prabhupada about the dream. And Prabhupada, in a very humble mood, with his head down, said, yes, that's true. So the only hope is serving the devotees. The only hope is serving the Lord. And the benefits are endless. What will our intelligence on its own do? What will our strength on its own do? Anytime all these things can be over. But while we have all this, if we can develop a loving mood towards the Lord, a loving mood towards the devotees, a loving awe and reverential mood towards the spiritual master, and we can perform services, these are our eternal assets. And ultimately Krishna is promising, Atmanam api yachati. Krishna will give himself to such devotees. Hare Krishna. Any comments, corrections, questions? Okay. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Bol.